Guard your peace. Hey, bro, you have to be brave enough to unlearn what has kept you from being the best version of yourself. Guard your
All I
peace.
see is black. You drained the color from my life, stole the vibrant moments, dimmed every bright possibility, until all that remained is a shadow. I don't reflect your light anymore.
Guard your peace.
Peace. God's at peace, my brother. Oh, how? How?
What's going on? Good evening, everyone. This is Jay, of course, with Love is a Parable. I'm trying to get back into the habit of making these things a little bit more routine, if you will. Um, you know how, like, sometimes you're in a place where you feel like you just need to get back to the basics? Well, I think that that's what I'm being called to. For me, Love is a Parable was one of the first things that I felt like I got right. I think for so long in our lives, we are conditioned to believe that we have to choose that one thing and do that one thing well, and then that's it. But no, it's sometimes we're called to do multiple things, and that's part of our assignment. And I think um, we either dumb ourselves down or we try to tell ourselves that there must be a more simpler way, but sometimes it is the most complicated way um, to get to that other side of you. And having a conversation with yourself about what can be easily done or what should be done and stuff like that is extremely important. So I wanted to just go live and kind of just do a check and see how everyone is doing, to see what's going on in everyone's life, because I feel like that I even need those check-ins for me. Um, so much has shifted in my life that trying to find that balance, it does sometimes feel and seem like overly complicated. And I do want to go back to a much simpler time where things just made sense, where it felt like, okay, not only am I doing something, I'm doing something that is replenishing me. And I think in this cycle, well, I know for a fact in this cycle of working with Love is a Parable, we've had a lot of great wins. And there have been a lot of valley moments that have seemed cold. And if you, when you're a founder of an organization, you give your all to it. And when it feels like those things are not aligned or the things are not going successful, it does something to you very similar to feeling like you're failing your children. So I want to get back to the basics and do things because I believe in what Love is a Parable is, what it stands for, what it has always been. And for me, because I created something that I knew was out of a necessity of what we need, it hurts my heart to see where we are from a societal standpoint, where we are from a relational standpoint, the current state of community, when there are simple ways or easier ways to navigate and get through that. And that's why Love is a Parable was really established. For those who don't know, Love is a Parable is a nonprofit. So we are a 501c3 organization. Next year will actually be our 10th year of doing this. And what we do is we provide value-based education, insight, reflective storytelling, and promote personal acceptance. The baby of what we do, the cornerstone of what we do is around values, because a lot of people don't understand that values truly shape the way we see ourselves, others, and the decisions that we make. And it's very important to understand that sometimes it's not a bad hire. Sometimes it's not another form. And so many companies are quick to restructure and quick to redo things when really it could be a value misalignment. So we dedicate ourselves to teaching. A value-based education is our teaching methodology, and it's an approach to utilizing values as a means of how values shape the way we perceive ourselves and the choices that we make. And we have a lot of like great videos, we have a lot of great testimonials. And I was wondering um, kind of how I wanted to do things. And that's really because my heart is kind of moving in so many different directions. So I don't want to be a bore, but I do want to encourage individuals to get back to the basics and see how things are done and see what they are about. So, what I'm going to do is kind of share part of my screen and see if I can do it. Let me see. I'm going to share with audio and I'm going to share one of my screens. Perfect. Let me see. Okay, great. Now I'm able to add my screen. Now I just want to make sure everything is working right because now I'm figuring it out. Okay, so this is our website, and I always tell people to really take some time in understanding what it is that we do, what it is that we are about, so that individuals can quickly understand how to navigate through all the many places and what Love is a Parable has to offer. So one of the things is definitely go to our website and we give you a whole write-up of what we are, what we stand on, and all of that. For those who are unsure, a lot of times people assume that they understand their values and they understand what it is that they truly believe in. But one of the things that I like to encourage individuals to do is take out a free value-based assessment. The value-based assessment is here. It's an opportunity for you to kind of sit down. It's going to ask you some reflective questions. So if you click here where it goes into the value-based assessment section, it's going to basically tell you everything. It takes literally about 10 to 15 minutes. Don't be alarmed about the amount of questions because what will happen is there are 18 reflective questions. That will take most of the time. And that's because we really want you to kind of think about some of those things. And then there are 22 ranking questions followed by 10 secondary comparisons. And it is based on your individual scoring, your individual thoughts, and all of that. And I love that. And you can also take a quick snapshot of it and send it to us so we can learn a little bit more about that, or we can help you or help explain what your values mean to you and how Love is a Parable could potentially help you. But if not, it can be just something good for you to just know. One of the things that we are bringing back and is going to be virtual is our love advocacy training. This is one of those that I promise is kind of like the bread, and it is the bread and butter of what we do. And I think so many people have missed a great opportunity to kind of utilize that and see what it really is about. So when you get a chance, I definitely would encourage you to check it out. You can even go back and look at some of our past graduates. We really had an amazing time. And that's where I want to go. And I want to get back to that. Because so much of who we are played a role in that. And I definitely want to see how can we get back to that as soon as possible. For some reason, the videos are not pulling up, but that's perfectly fine. Because what I'm probably going to do is reload the screen and see if that helps. It's trying to do something. So what I'm going to do is share with you a few of the testimonials that are actually on the screen. And this is to show you why we're passionate about the work that we do. Okay? So let's take a listen. While I can honestly say that it's one of those powerful moments that I'm just excited about the work that we do. And I want to continue that process of moving forward and making sure that we have it. I'm going to stop sharing just for a moment because I want to get back to, I'm going to get back to it. I just wanted to make sure that it was sharing properly. Yep, it is sharing with the tab. So we are good there. So this one actually meant a lot to me because Tara, um, she is one of our first corporate advocates, the first organization that lended their business to us so that we could expand. And that's what we're looking for more of is finding those organizations that'll help us get back to the good work that we do. And I'm deeply moved. And I think even I needed this moment to kind of just reflect on where we've been, what we've doing, and I think it's okay to go back to the basics. I really believe in my heart of hearts, it's okay to go back to the basics. So let's try and listen to Jamal's story. And once again, that's another one where I'm just happy about what we've done, where we've been, and where we're going. And I want to continue that work because I do value and I do care about what it is that we are doing. So I wanted to take it a step further. I'm going to share my screen again because a lot of times we are asked several questions. And though we don't mind sharing them at all, we want people to know where they are. Just like be careful with sharing audio. Got it. I want to show you where things are. So there is a way. You don't have to take the advocacy training, but you can purchase the manuals, and the manuals itself will help walk you through a lot of those things. There are a couple of things that we want you to kind of get out of it, and that is implement restrictive and assumptive thinking reduction practices. You will be surprised how many levels of restrictive thinking we really do deal with, or even assumptive thinking around so many things. And I promise you, like listening and seeing so much, I feel like a lot of those things that are happening right now is because people are spewing misaligned values. Because sometimes people will say one thing and do totally the opposite. And it's not because their heart isn't in it. It's sometimes we don't realize what our true values are until someone shows us. We do want you to develop some of those essential love advocate skills, which are outlined in the book, but also discover ways to identify love and maintain a positive self-image. A lot of this is about loving and embracing who you are, but we actually give kind of a foundation to that. Establish personal fulfillment in meaningful relationships. We want to get to a place where every connection that we make is intentional, it's reciprocal, and it's pouring back into you in some type of capacity. Discover the 4 ways to identify love. There is a random act of kindness project that we do in the actual training workshop that you won't, well, you can do it technically with the book. You'll just have to pace yourself. But initiate 4 ways to begin loving yourself and loving others. Here, oh man, this is taking me back because these are some of the classes that we used to teach. I want to say this was at Fayetteville Tech when I was teaching this class there. So that's what I'm saying. Like there have been some positive moments, like amazing moments. Let's take a listen. Let's see what comes.
What is expected is sometimes known as the standards that we have. Like we all have standards, you know what I mean? So you have that expectation. But a lot of times what happens with expectations, we extend it to another person when really the expectation is for ourselves. So the expectation is something you set up, meaning if David was my son, I would say, David, in this house, when you're 18, you go to college. That's my expectation for David. But David didn't make that expectation, so it's not an expectation for him. And so what we try to do is force him to meet my expectation. But really what I'm doing is putting the parameters in place on how I gauge and determine or assess situations. So I can say at 18, if David doesn't go to college, I can put him out my house, I can tell him to go to the military, I can tell him to trade, but the truth of the matter is the only thing that I can control is him being a resident in my house. That's the only thing that I can control. David signing up for the military will be on him. David going to college will be on him. David getting another job will be on him. But at that point where that expectation is not met, I determine something. This is the first level of betrayal. I feel betrayed because David didn't meet my expectations. David might say, hey, I want to go to a trade school and just get my IT certification. I don't want to go to college. I determine at that moment how I'm going to place David in my life. I can say I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointed in David. I'm really disappointed that he didn't meet my expectation. So now I feel betrayed by David. So this betrayal is where I determine if I'm going to forgive him or not. Because David can go on and be very successful. And I tell him, David, I still want you to get a 4-year education. And he's like, listen, I'm making 6 figures doing what I'm doing. See, the betrayal was he didn't meet my expectation. So now I can't forgive him because he didn't meet my expectation. When I can't forgive him, no matter how successful he is, because he didn't meet my expectation, that's where unforgiveness comes in. So now he can apologize all he wants, but his apologize is an attempt to say, hey, I acknowledge that I didn't meet your expectation, but I still want to be in a relationship with you. But because I'm exercising unforgiveness, now resentment comes. So I resent David. I don't want to be around David. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want it to be a trigger. And that's how triggers come. Triggers come when we have dealt with an expectation that we didn't forgive, and now we have become bitter, and now we resent it. So now it's a trigger. So every time you bring that up, you bring up that whole emotion of betrayal when you didn't meet that expectation. And no matter how many times you say it, you're revisiting it over and over and over again, because now it has become a ritual. It has become a ritual to resent David. So anytime you say his name, I resent. And even if he's not around, I get mad at him. Even when I see a picture, I get mad at him. So what we have to do is realize that the expectation was never for him in the beginning. Expectations is how I measure and govern my life. And I decide if people don't meet these expectations, what will happen. Because I could easily say, you know what, David, I had an expectation for you to go to college. But I realized you can make your own decisions, because in my generation, going to college was a secure future. But I see now, man, you making double, triple of what I'm making just by being smart and not even getting into almost 3 hours. My bad. See, now my expectation that I had to assess my relationship now becomes an apology, because now I'm being mindful. Because see, being a love advocate is intentional. Now I'm being mindful of saying, dog, David, I had an expectation for you. Not realizing saying this expectation was also saying that you weren't wise enough to make a good decision for yourself. So now I forgive him for not meeting my expectation, but that forgiveness becomes an intentional apology for even setting an expectation for him. So you see, expectation, if it's not met, betrayal. If you choose not to forgive them, it becomes unforgiveness, which rolls into bitterness, and then it becomes resentment, which is your trigger.
I'm not even gonna lie, like looking at these reminds me of how much good work that we were doing and that we are doing. And this is the bedrock of what Love is a Parable is really about, and what our courses are about, and why we are such advocates and champions for this work. That I promise you, I can't, and it's so many ways that we've looked at it. So let's look at another one. Like, I am so excited about this because I really did need this. And this is more so for myself. But if you're tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in, because it's about getting back to the basics. Let's try this one.
And what we typically do is, if you can't handle a little bit of me, I know you can't handle the 100% of me, but for some strange reason, the full rejection of it bothers me. Why does the rejection bother me? If I want to be me, if I truly just want to seek happiness and really experience joy and really experience fulfillment, why is that being handicapped by the acceptance of others? I'm not a church, but I'm a living form institution of worship, a conduit of spiritual communication with a faith declaration that is conjoined with my emancipation. I'm not a religion. See, it is there you see the pressures of normality have become the selfish pursuit of happiness, only to find that it is a mission impossible. As we pledge allegiances to commonality, we evade the right that is us for the trust of the illegitimate must. It's amazing that we must have this or we must have that, When did freedom have must? When it is the only must. Freedom is not a condition of must when it is a constituent of freedom. I believe it is the dome of the free to be more than robotic droids, but to represent an immense gathering of hosts that can only be experienced but never visited, for it lies in the milieu of we. There should be an urgency to invest in this freedom. This should be classified as a state of emergency to avoid being free dumb. Those who believe that they are free but only have two options: see not or speak not. How much longer must we sweat before realizing that the thermostat is set too hot? Once again, I'm not a church. I am the result of an assembly of those who went before me. There was no prerequisite to this legacy.
Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, it really it really has taken me to another place, and I'm glad that I've taken this moment to really sit back and really examine that. And so for a lot of us, I would challenge you to return to the core of you, return to all the things that you promised yourself that you would do, return to that desire, that fire that was inside of you. Give yourself an opportunity to really reconnect with yourself, because somewhere along the way, when life starts life in, we deviate from the course. We start to deviate from ourselves, and we don't have to do that. We can continue to push through and really make sure that we are foundationally who we are. It is so easy for us because we're so used to dealing with us that sometimes we don't see those slight steps to the side. And that sometimes that pinky toe out becomes a whole foot. Then that whole foot becomes 2 feet, and then that whole 2 feet becomes a whole new way of life. It becomes a lifestyle, and a lot of us, before we know it, we've deviated from the course. We went to different places, and I want to challenge us to really to return to that. And that's one of the things that Love is a Parable does do a great job of, is helping you peel back the layers. A lot of us are more conditioned on how to be a response to the things that have happened to us versus being who we are organically and who we were created to be organically. So we want to challenge us to really go back to the basics. Find that spark that you once had. Pick up those old books, those journals where you used to doodle and say, okay, yeah, these are the things that I wanted to do. These are the things that are of value to me. These are the things that breathe life. These are the things that excited me. And I can tell you, as a founder of an organization, there is a switch where you go from being mission focused to pushing strategies behind the mission. And so sometimes you're not even doing the work that you really want to do within your mission, because you got to do work to push the mission. And so sometimes that's not fun. Like for me, it's not fun that I have to, because I have a nonprofit, I do have to raise funds. I hate asking people for money. I hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. I know some people are good at it, but I'm not one of those individuals who is really good at it. I feel like when people experience Love is a Parable, it will be easier for me to actually talk about it and share it that way. Hey, what's going on, Jamon? Thank you, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for tuning in as well. So that's where I'm able to really get into that. But a lot of the work that we do has always been proof in the pudding. And I feel like I want to listen to one more Let me see. We're going to listen to one more. Make sure that is on. So let's see what we're going to listen to. Add to the stage. Um, let's try this one.
People are trying to figure out, how do you do the things that you do, and you do it so well? They don't feel the stress. They don't see that what you're going through. They're like, dog, that Lolita is something elegant. And Lolita like, I just pulled my hair off. That's why I put this wig on, because I never have, because y'all done stress me out. But they don't see that. They see a polished, finished individual who just went through a pruning process that they know nothing about, and that sweat gave you that extra shine, that extra glow, and they trying to figure it out. Self-examination precedes self-explanation. What does that mean? That's what you got going on. That's why you resent them. Oh, you want the product. You just want this. But you don't want to go through the process with me. You want my wine, but you don't want to go to the wine press to make this wine. Got it. Well, I don't want to fool with you, because this wine that I'm producing is only for royalty. I can't just give my wine to anybody, so I can't just have anybody around me. So guess what happens? Self is protecting you from you even in that moment. Some people say, oh, she just got a bad attitude, or she just acted some way. And then the funny thing is, it's her spiritual being, the essence of her saying, no, I'm not acting the way, I'm protecting what is mine. I'm protecting what I have, because what I have, even if it's a little bit, is still enough.
Wow.
Yeah, this is getting like totally excited about this, because this is the work. This is the good work that we do. And I do want to go back just a little bit, because I don't think a lot of people understand all of the things that we have going on. Like, these are actual organizations that we work with, have worked with, and continue to work with. And to be honest, we need to add more of it. And it's because we're passionate about the things that we do, and there's results in it. There is definitely results in all of the things that we're doing. And speaking of which, why don't we take a minute to listen to some more testimonials from some of our corporate advocates and love advocates, and they can tell you firsthand. So let's take a listen.
I would describe my experience with the Love Advocacy Training as a wonderful resource and tool to dive deeper into genealogy and into your history and really kind of find out who you are. Because at its base, the part that I really appreciated the most is the fact that you get to learn how to forgive, how to reconcile, and love yourself so that you can be the best person you can be to love others. I really encourage your group or your team to take advantage of this resource and the tools that are available in this class, so that you can find out what kind of blessings are available for those who are out there.
So our relationship with Love is a Parable started really as a friendship between Jay and I. And Jay loved me as a friend, and then from there just began to educate and inspire me personally. And so then Jay, of course, naturally stepped into some leadership meetings with our teams, and then ultimately even speaking to our church at large and providing all the education needed. But it was more than just knowledge and facts and education. It became heart stuff. I think the way Jay described it was, he helped us move from our head to our heart, meaning like values. And those values that he began to identify within our organization really started to shape our behaviors. And so he's impacted us, or Love as a Parable has impacted us, both at every level, at the head, the heart, and our hands, our behavior. And so we're really thankful for the transformative work of Love as a Parable within Oasis Church.
I was inspired to partner with Love as a Parable because when I was first introduced to Jay Dwayne, I became a groupie right after I had attended one of his sessions that he was giving for nonprofit organizations. And when I heard that he was talking about value-based leadership, and I run a leadership organization, I was like, I have to meet him. I have to understand more of what he's doing. And Love is a Parable is introspective leadership. And before you can be any type of leader, you have to have a foundation. And Love is a Parable does that tremendously and excellent.
Love is a Parable is a little different than the organizations that we work with typically. Those organizations are finding their way. They're trying to build capacity. They're trying to figure out how to deliver the context of the work that they do and give people like their top level objectives. While what I've observed from Love is a Parable, they are a capacity builder. They are a space for individuals and folks to access their agency, to feel entitlement in the spaces that they grow. And the value-based education and the way that I've seen Love is a Parable interact with people is uplifting, it's building, it's helping people build sustainability and agency.
Yeah, so that's one of the things. We have the track record, and sometimes even knowing the lives that we've touched, the people that we've impacted, we sometimes still go off course because we're trying to get to that next level. Well, this is an invitation for all those who are in earsight, who can see this, review this, whatever it is, to return to you. This is an invitation to go back to the basics, to return to you, to remember a lot of the commitments that you made, the dreams that you've had. Go back, look at old journals, look at where you were. That's one of the good things I do like about a lot of these social media platforms. They give you kind of like on this day or in your memories, they'll remind you of certain things. So it's good to know where you were this time last year, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's good to reflect. Reflection is such a powerful tool. And I would love to invite you guys to really return to you, to give yourself an opportunity to breathe, because reflection does allow you to assess, but it also lets you know, like, wow, you might have made it through a lot. You might have accomplished a lot. And the fact that you're still here is something that we want to sit down and celebrate and rejoice in. I'm so grateful that you allowed me to kind of just carve out this time. This is literally all I wanted to do, is just give a moment to really just reflect and an invitation to return. And this was about me. I felt it in my heart. And I feel like it was something that was necessary. One of the things that I would encourage all of you to do is visit loveisaparable.com at your leisure. And if you're moved by what it is that we're doing, please share our mission, our website with others. But also, if you desire to give, please give at loveisaparable.com. There's so many things that we could be doing, and I'm feeling called to make this world a better place. And I'm doing my part at Love is a Parable, and I hope that you guys will join me. Until next time, I definitely look forward to talking to you. And if you feel like nobody in this world loves you, just remember you met one person that you do. Reach out to me anytime. I look forward to seeing you. I don't know the next time I'll go live, but when I do, I will have you in mind, and you best believe it's something about empowering the world. Take care, my friends.
Guard your peace. Hey, bro. You have to be brave enough to unlearn what has kept you from being the best version of yourself. Guard your
All I
peace.
see is black. You drained the color from my life, stole the vibrant moments, dimmed every bright possibility, until all that remained is a shadow.